Shubha ma'am, am I audible?
Yes,
Shall we start the session, ma'am?
yes, we can start.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all. I am very happy to welcome you all to this 1 month gender sensitization and capacity building program organized by Department of Women's Studies, Bhadas University, Center for Women's Studies, and NSS of Kaveri College for Women Autonomous, and the Regional Association for Women's Studies RAS. Instruction to the participants. Participants, kindly mute your microphone and turn off your video to avoid technical issues. Don't present yourself during the session because you can't view the resource person's presentation. By mistake, if you start presenting, kindly click the option Stop Presenting in your screen. If you have any queries, you can either post it in the chat box or unmute your microphone, and you can ask the question at the end of the session. Attendance link will be provided at the end of the session. May I now request Dr. S. Shubha, Assistant Professor, Department of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University, to welcome the gathering and to introduce the resource person to the participants. Welcome you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. On behalf of the organizers, I am very happy to welcome all the participants and the today's resource person, Professor Murugeshwari. Good afternoon to all. Professor Murugeshwari is working in as professor in Department of Human Studies, Bharathidasan University. She has specialized in the areas of gender and management and women entrepreneurship and particularly human resource management. And she has more than 16 years of experience both in the teaching and research in different field management, women studies, and she has published more than 75 research articles in different national and international journals and edited books also. She served as various administrative capacities in Bharathidasan University, such as publication officer in charge, then head in charge in the School of Performing Arts in BDU, and deputy warden of BDU hostels, particularly women's hostels. And she has received more than 7 awards for her contributions to women development in different sectors. Today we have such a experienced resource person, particularly from in the field of Department of Human Studies. So, on behalf of the organizers and the participant, I welcome Professor Murugeshwari to share her expertise knowledge in the area of gender sensitization, particularly gender and socialization. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Neera, shall I start? So, very good afternoon to all. So, I must thank Professor Manimegli and Dr. Shubha and Dr. Neela. So, it is my immense pleasure. Today is the fifth day session. I think most of the resource person were talking about gender. And of course, all the resource person must talk about gender. Without talk about gender, we can't go for a gender socialization or whatever it is, because gender is a more uh, important component in the concept of women studies. So in this way, first I would like to thank all the participants for your enthusiastic raising queries relating to women studies or whatever it is, particularly gender sensitized questions. So, before gender socialization concept, I would like to say some few words about what is gender. So, gender is a socially constructed definition of men and women. It is not the same as sex, because the sex is a biological characteristics of women and men, and it is not the same as women. So, gender is determined by the conception of task, functions, and roles attributed to women and men in society and in public and private life. So, I can say one example also for gender. So, referring to someone who wears a dress as a female. Some of the examples of masculine and feminine also I can say now. Man, father, boy. These concept or these terms come under masculine. Women, mother, girl, these terms come under feminine. So instead of this, we can use some gender neutral word. Instead of man and women, we can use person. Instead of father and mother, we can use parent. Instead of boy and girl, we can use child. But here, the gender roles and gender norms are culturally specific and thus vary tremendously around the world. Because without connecting the culture, we can't go for a socialization process. This will talk by Dr. Shubha by tomorrow. But anyway, the men and women differ substantially from each other in power, status, and freedom. But men have more power than women in all society, that we must agree. Because power is a broad concept that describes the ability or freedom of individuals to make decisions and behave as they choose a person's access to resources and ability to control them in different category. Maybe in public administration, political administration, decision making role, or administrative role. Here some of the social norms also plays a vital role. With regards to public behavior, we can say some example. These are the socially constructed. Shake hands when you meet someone. These are all the public behavior. Say please when asking for something and say thank you when someone does something for you. With regard to while using mobile phone, I can say some example. Say hello when answering and goodbye before you hang up. Put your phone on silent if you are in a meeting or in a public setting where phones are not to be used. These social norms are framed while using cell phones. Or I can say some more example for social norms in the classroom and schools. Do not use a cell phone during class. Arrive to class on time. And some of the social norms framed constructed by the society even in the workplace. Be on time and follow the schedule that you are given. Keep a positive attitude and do not engage in gossip. Okay, these are the general social norms constructed or framed by the society for the people. But here we must talk about what are the gender specific social norms. There are certain norms are expected for each gender that have existed for a long time. While these are examples of norms that have changed over time and are still changing, they still persist in many communities. Many of the gender norms are stereotypes and can be considered discriminatory. So some of the examples also I can say for gender specific norms. Girls wear pink, boys wear blue. Men should be strong, not show emotion. Women should be caring and nurturing. Men should repair at the house and be the one to work and make money while women are expected to take care of the household and children. So these are the repeated examples while we speak about gender sensitization or gender studies. But ultimately, what is the impact of the society? There is no difference. We can say in some places the women empowered or gender sensitive person are plays a vital role. But ultimately, still we are talking about, we are waiting for gender equality. And of course, we must agree that there are a lot of differences in social norms. We have to keep it in mind that these examples are social norms in Western society. And most of them thinking that Western society people are more empowered, they have equal rights and all those things. Not like that. The issues of women or issues of gender relates, or particularly the global issues we are talking here. The social norms vary between countries and from social class to social class and from social group to social group. Or each group can share many of the same social norms. The group may have few special norms. As you move from one country to another country or one group to another group, it is up to you to know and implement the appropriate social norms. So The gender consists, already I pointed out that without talking about the gender role, culture, and gender identity, we can't move for gender socialization. Of course, the process and the functions or whatever it is. So here, gender consists of several elements, but gender roles and gender identity, these two aspects or these two elements are interrelated, which we will discuss in the session. So, gender roles means how we are expected to act or speak or dress or groom and conduct ourselves based upon our assigned sex. For example, girls and women are generally expected to dress in typically feminine ways and be polite, accommodating, and nurturing. On the other hand, we can say gender identity is defined as a personal conception of oneself as male or female. It means how you experience your own gender. It may seem simple, but it's a lot of more complex than you might think. This is what happening in the society now. Or I can say one more example for this. If a person considers himself a male and is most comfortable referring to his personal gender in masculine terms, then his gender identity is male. However, his gender role is male only if he demonstrates typically male characteristics, like in behavior, dress code, and or his mannerisms. And when we talk about the sex can mean lots of different things, because already I was pointing out that it's a biological features of men and women. But most of the people, like in our societies, think there are only two genders that people identify with, either male or female. More than that, we have lot of genders. This belief is called, we can say, gender binary. But most society also have expectations and stereotypes about gender based on someone assigned sex, like expecting males to be tough and females to be gentle. These gender expectations can affect a person's social, work, and legal rights also. You see, from a young age, most children know what their gender identity is and find it really hard to think about themselves in another way. But gender identity is about how you experience your own gender despite what society expects. Your gender can be shown through your identity, like body image, for example, appearance, expression, how you act, how you dress. But feeling able to show your true gender identity is very important to your emotional and mental health. So there are lots of possible gender identities out there. People can identify as one of the binary genders as moving between genders, as no gender or as another gender altogether. But in most of individuals, gender identity and gender role are agreeable. And we are the pillars to move, bring some changes in the society, particularly all spheres, in decision-making role particularly. When moving to gender socialization, first we should understand about what is gender sensitization. This was clearly was talked about Professor Manimegalai in the second day session, the need for gender sensitization. Yeah, of course, to make someone more aware of something, especially a problem or something bad, people are becoming more sensitized to the dangers or threatening environment, and to make something sensitive to physical or chemical changes or to a particular substance. So in this, we only UGC insisted us to have the program among the public, not only students or researcher, each and everyone should participate and sensitize. Some of the gender concept I would like to spell out here. Due to time constraint, I can't go elaborate in detail. First, gender analysis. So this is all the new concept. I think we will have the session for gender budgeting and auditing. In that session, the resource person will talk about gender budgeting, analysis, and auditing. But anyway, so gender analysis is existing gender relations in a particular environment, ranging from within households or firm to a large scale of community, ethnic group, or nation. Generally, gender analysis involves the collecting and analyzing the sex disaggregated data and other qualitative and quantitative informations. Because these gender analysis organizes and interprets in a systematic way, like information about gender relation, to make clear the importance of gender differences. This will help to achieve the development of gender objectives. With regard to gender bias, making decision based on gender that result in favoring one gender over the other, which often result in the context that are favoring men and or boys or over women and or girls. Gender blindness. This is also one important concept in women's studies and gender studies. Here, gender blindness shows that the failure to recognize the roles and responsibilities of boys or men or women and girls are given to them in a specific social, cultural, economic, and political context, or at background also, I can say. Next, a very important concept is gender discrimination. So, any distinction or exclusion or restriction made on the basis of the sex, she has the effect or purpose of impairing the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, or on the basis of equality of men and women, of human rights, or fundamental freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil, or any other field. Gender equity. Gender equity also important concept. While we talk about equality, the equity also must be referred. So, gender equity refers here the fairness of the treatment for women and men according to their respective needs. This may include equal treatment or treatment that is different, but considered equivalent in terms of rights, benefits, obligations, and opportunities. Gender equality is the state or condition that affords women and men equal enjoyment of human rights, socially valued goods, opportunities, and resources. Why I have included all the concepts in the third or fourth slide, the influencing of gender concepts only giving lot of inequality, internalized social structured norms, values for women and men, even all the people global wise we are following the norms which we should not follow in women's studies. I'll explain detail what are the gender norms will exploit our gender equality. Gender gap also. Gender gap I'm saying here about the difference between men and women, boys and girls, particularly reflected in attainment of the development goals or access to resource and levels of participation. This is also indicates gender inequality. And of course, gender mainstreaming also. Because gender mainstreaming is a strategy for making the concerns and experiences of women as well as of men an integral part of the design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of policies and programs. Again, I can say like political, economic, societal spheres, so that the women and men benefit equally. The ultimate goal is of mainstreaming is to achieve gender equality. So again, we can say that the equality means like both men and women are treating equal at all spheres is considered as gender equality. We are not saying that suppressing men or suppressing women. Treat the people equally at all spheres or any kind of participation. Likewise, gender norms also. Gender norms means that is accepted attributes and characteristics of male and female gendered identity at a particular point in time for a specific society or community. Likewise, gender parity also. So we work for that and we are fighting for that. A numerical concept. Gender parity is a numerical concept concerning the relative equality in terms of numbers and the proportions of men and women, girls and boys. A very important concept is here gender stereotypes. Gender stereotypes means that is the ideas that people have on masculinity or femininity, what men and women of all generations should be like or capable of doing. Like girls should be obedient and cute or allowed to cry, and boys are expected to be brave, not to cry. Women are better housekeepers, and men are better with machines, or boys are better at mathematics, and the girls more suited to nursing. So these are the examples and things in our day-to-day life we accepted and consider. When we talk about gender-based violence, I'm telling all those things. These are all the barriers in socialization process emerged, and still it is happening and breaking our gender equality. Generally, gender-based violence is defined from the gender norms and rules as well as from unequal power relations between men and women. Because you know very well about violence is specifically targeted against a person because of his or her gender. Particularly, the women and the girls are facing more issues. Yesterday, also, one incident was happened in Kovilpatti. The 7-year-old girl was gang raped and murdered. So, still, the same incident, violence, abuses are going on in our society. But most of the reports and most of the cases are not reported. Only minimum cases reported. But during COVID, the cases are increasing, like about the sexual violence, sexual exploitation, forced prostitution, domestic violence, trafficking, and some of the harmful traditional practices also, such as female genital mutilation, honor killings, and the widow inheritance. It's happening still. So, next, I'd like to talk about empowerment, because empowerment is very important concept. Without empowerment and education, we can't move for gender equality. So empowerment means like women and girls concerned gaining power and control over their own lives. It involves awareness raising, building self-confidence, expansion of choices, increased access and control over the resources, action to transform the structures and institutions which reinforce the perpetuate gender discrimination and inequality. So some of the things also, their gender, sexual orientation, patriarchy, because patriarchy is a very important topic, very important concept in women's studies. And this is the manifestation and institutionalization of male dominance against women and children in families, and the extension of this dominance against women in society. But we feel that women are having like a gender sensitive person, but all men are not gender sensitive, not like that. Some of the women also not having gender sensitivity in their mindset. So here we have a very good example in Tamil Nadu. EVR Periyar Ramaswamy is the best example for feminism and feminist movement. So that the patriarchy institutionalizes male privileges in these same major institution and is based on the control of women's productive and reproductive abilities. So straight away go to socialization and the process of socialization. So here the socialization means it is nothing but the process of internalizing the norms and ideologies of society. That is what I was telling in the introduction part. Automatically, knowingly or unknowingly, we have internalized the norms and ideologies of the society. And the society socialization encompasses both the learning and teaching, and is thus the means by which social and cultural continuity are attained. In the socialization, I can go to uh, types of socialization. The first one is a primary socialization. The primary socialization received in childhood is just one part of the lifelong socialization process. Adults go through the process of re-socialization, which is the learning of new norms and values that occurs when they join a new group or when life circumstances change dramatically. And learning new norms and values enable people to adapt, though newly learned things may contradict what was previously learned. So this is what the primary socialization learning experience gives in the earlier stage of a childhood. So primary socialization is the learning we experience from the people who raise us. In order to for our children to grow and thrive, caregivers must satisfy their physical needs, including food, clothing, and shelter. Caregivers must also teach children what they need to know in order to function as members of the society, including norms, values, and language. If children do not receive any adequate primary socialization, then tend to not to fare as well as adults. Because why I am focusing here as a primary socialization and the childhood learning means the family, peer group, friends, it's an important task and the agents for socialization. In the family itself, the child is learning all the norms, particularly gender norms, values, and language. And this is the stage that is in a primary socialization stage only, shows that the children, because most of the researchers also have different theories about the development stage of the children, learn about themselves and their roles in the society. Some of these theories contradict each other. That is, each is criticized for different reason, but each still plays an important role in the gender studies point of view. And you shall refer some of the theories also for personality development, fruits theory, and all talks about ID, superego, and ego. Meets theory of social behaviorism and all talks about social experience. It consists of the exchange of symbols, knowing others, because these are the important concept and the theories and very important stage, initial stage to bring the child about what is the gender equality, gender norms, and the gender values. And of course, that Cooley's theories also talks about glass self. Glass self means that is whose opinion about to us and who is in a position to influence our thinking, especially about ourselves. So these are the important stages and the theories we can apply in the development stage, particularly in the childhood. The second important socialization type is the re-socialization. I can say, for example, for re-socialization, that is the extreme forms of the process, like joining the military or going to prison or otherwise separating from mainstream society. So some of the people or some of the groups will be come under re-socialization process. Next thing, anticipatory socialization. Anticipatory socialization means we start learning new things and values in expectation of a role we will occupy in the future. That is, making necessary adjustments in advance makes the actual transition into the new role easier. Also, by adopting some of the norms and values of the future role, we can evaluate whether that role will be right for us or when the time comes to assume it. So, for this, we have given a right place to them, or as a person, whether did we analyzed earlier. These are all the very important questions raised in anticipatory socialization. When it comes to adolescent socialization, this is for teenagers. Teen years are often considered a time of the crisis, a period of tension between difference of the past and the anticipated independence of the future. So, in this stage, we should be very careful to consider to bring the correct socialization process from the family, becoming less oriented to parents and more oriented to peers and other adults. Okay, if we talk about all gender socialization, first we should ask ourselves how does gender socialization occurs? Because gender socialization means it's a process through which children learn about the social experiences, attitudes, behaviors typically associated with boys and girls. And it is a continuous process, continuing process also, whereby individual occurs a personal identity and learns the norms, again values behavior and social skills. But here, the social learning process that imbibes the people into understanding the various aspects of culture includes the process of gender socialization. Uh, because why I'm telling about the culture means we are combine consist of both concept like culture and socialization. So without talk about without talk about culture or socialization process, we can't find out where that lacuna arises. That is what I think in the tomorrow session you will have more interaction information about culture. Here, gender socialization encompasses the process of learning society is gender roles and their advantages and limitations. So, socialization process, it is not a new term. It arises, comes from us, from family, from peer groups, schools, colleges, institutions, government, and so on. And here, the most of the societies, there is a clear categorization of what is meant to be a male and a female, and a categorization process, the agents of the socialization, how to transmit knowledge about gender roles, how these gender roles influence the individual people and they define themselves, and other in terms of gender and sex roles. But in our mind, we this kind of creates this perfect scenario for sexual assault to happen. So we know that women are extremely victims, particularly in sexual violence, and we know that men are overwhelmingly perpetrators. What about being a man increases that? Because we teach our boys to be strong and aggressive and not to take no for an answer. And then we teach our girls to be passive and pretty and nice to be assertive. These things raises sexual assault problems, violence against men. So there is some socialization process that occurs, makes sexual assault or other kind of violence. The reasons we can say influence of biology. Biology means I can say like uh, the differences between the male and females result from innate biological differences or from differences in the ways that boys and girls are socialized. Or we can say some of the experts says that they disagree on whether differences between men and women are due to nature, nurture or some combination of both. And some of the in languages also influence women. Now we'll talk about girl children or women, we are using some plural language, something like that. So these are some significant differences between female and male brains. The language center in the male brain is usually the dominant, and whereas females use both of the brain to process language. And this may explain the female seems to have a stronger communication skill and relation, interpersonal communication more than males. And why on average, the girls learn to speak and read earlier than boys. But these things are happening. But once comes to the family or the society, whether the same equality or recognition is there or not, it's a very big question mark. because there is some influence happens in family also, because we are the first teacher to the kid about culture, social norms, values, and what are the different guidelines, what is appropriate for females and males. This may be socialize children in generated ways without consciously following that path. Even we can say an example, in American society, the color pink is associated with girls and the color blue with boys. Even as tiny babies also, the boys and girls are dressed differently. So according to what is considered the appropriate for their respective sex, even the parents who strive to achieve less gendered parenting style unconsciously reinforce gender roles. So likewise, we can say more example. Under the influence in education also, while children enter the educational system, some traditional expectations for boys and girls still continues. So in the past, much research focused on how teachers were shortchanging girls in the classroom. Teachers would focus on boys, calling on them more and challenging them. When I had experience in my school days, the same thing was happened. Because the boys were believed to be more analytical, teachers assumed that they would be excel in maths and science. But now we can see some changes, and the teachers also encouraged them to go to into the career that required a lot of maths and science, such as computer science and engineering. But now the trend is totally changed. This I'm telling about before 1990s. And one of the important studies also shows that the boys are more physically active than girls. But the difference is greater when children are in the elementary school. Boys may be less able to sit still during a lesson, or they are often sent out of class disruptive, which put them behind in the schoolwork and can reinforce their problem in the classroom. So likewise, some of the influences the women are facing, or child are facing, or the people are facing in the society, selecting career choice also very important thing. Particularly, women are facing more influence, might be positive or negative. But the example we can say, if women working in the traditionally male occupation often get a glass ceiling, because the women working in a traditional role, it is an invisible barrier, that is glass ceiling, that keeps women from reaching executive position. Men who work in traditional female occupations such as nursing, very minimum percentage of the people, particularly male, is working in the nursing field. But at least we can say 10 to 15 percentage people in the form of educational institutions, NGO, and the social work activities the male are doing. And elementary school teaching also very question mark, because I never heard that male or teaching in the elementary school kids or children are often this viewed as more qualified than women, because already I was pointing out that nursing, social work and elementary school teaching is typically applicable to women, and it is invisible, but while taking the same position by men are often viewed as more qualified than men. So these men often benefit from the glass escalator. They are paid more and promoted more quickly than their female counterparts. So here we have to raise some of the questions. How do parents influence gender socialization? Because I'm telling you that society is not different. Number of families, number of people, the groups consist society. So here the parenting role is very important to influence in a positive manner, or to bring gender neutral family. So what is the role of the family here? Because the family dynamics can especially influence gender specialization. Both fathers and mothers encourage traditional gender roles in their children. Fathers tend to encourage these rules more frequently than mothers, and the parents choose activities that they believe their children will enjoy and value. So this is our duty to insist, teach what is the gender norms and values or existing values, what we taught from the society. This we have to discuss among the family with the children. Unless otherwise, it is not an easy thing to bring the change overnight. And one more question I want to raise before you. At what age this gender socialization begin? Because we emerge ourselves internalize in the childhood age, I said. So this gender socialization begins as early as when a woman becomes pregnant and people start making judgment about the value of male over females. These stereotypes are perpetuated by family members and teachers and others by having different expectations for male and female. So the person must be gender sensitized unless otherwise we can't bring gender neutral family or gender neutral society. And here only the children's socialization process, gender rules are determined because the gender is a social category that organizes virtually every segment of the society, that there are multiple sources of socialization in children, gender development, parents, and potentially include other family members, peer groups, friends, media, and teachers. So we expect we have to bring gendered institutions because gendered institution it is nothing but the processes, practices, images, ideologies, and a distribution of powers in the various sector of the social life should be equal. And socialization process, when it comes to socialization process, so already I said that we are internalizing the norms, ideas, views of the society. It is encompasses both learning and teaching, and is thus the means by which a social and cultural continuity are attained. Because socialization is strongly connected to developmental psychology. Already I said about three theories like ego, ID, superego, some of the social values, norms should be teach or trained by the parents. And some of the functions of a socialization process to be followed, and the socialization process the people has to participate in the social group like by teaching them its norms and expectations, and we are all teachers or we are all in research field, it is our duty to bring some effort or step to overcome all the issues to bring a socialization process here. Here, the socialization process, there are four important agents are involving. Four major agents means I would like to say family, education, peer groups, and mass media. And of course, we must agree that television, commercials, and other forms of advertising reinforce inequality and a gender-based stereotype because the people directly, easily internalize what we look or what we see through video forms or audio forms or film or song, whatever it is, it must be internalized. But here we should see whether this is a gender based or gender based stereotype advertisements or norms are coming, and we should be a sensitized person to raise question because the main agent of gender socialization are parents, peers, siblings, school, and society. Particularly, media also plays a vital role. But here, the very young children, the parents and family plays a central role in shaping gender socialization, and they have to determine how the family interact with the boy, as well as the types of toys and the clothes that the baby is given. Still, it is going on while buying the dress or whatever it is, any kind of gift. For girl baby, immediately we select a pink. For the boy baby means we go for the blue color. So this is the basic mindset and the norms. Already I pointed out that internally, indirectly, unknowingly internalized. So these social groups often provide the first experiences of the socialization, like families I'm saying you. So later only peer groups communicate expectations and reinforce the norm. So the people first learn to use the concrete object of the material culture in these settings, as well as being introduced to the beliefs and values of the society. So, as a family members, and we are all in the family, it is our duty, our role to talk about the social norms, values constructed among the society about gender. And we can't say that the socialization will stop within the family or within the workplace, not like that. Because socialization occurs throughout our life. But some of the most important socialization occurs in childhood. That is what I'm insisting, childhood and family uh, members should take care of the childhood stage is very important. Because let us talk about the most influential agents of socialization means a family, because these are the people or groups are responsible for our socialization during childhood. And of course, you must talk about the second agent for socialization processes, school. In any society, there exists individual who, because they did not internalize the society values and conform to set of standards, and that is the mindsets. There are several sources of socialization called agents, which are family, schools, mass media, and everything. Here, the culture also has been seen as a key significance in the construction of gender identity. That is what, because we people mostly we used to say that in our culture we have this practice, in your culture, what is your practice? Still, that practice and norms are following in our day to day life. But here, the education only has been seen as an important part of this process, drawing girls and boys into different activities and achievement. The main role is family, and the another important role is education. So, as a teacher, we have to promote the important process of socialization. We have to draw girls and boys into different activities and achievements to talk about gender or gender equality. And we talk about culture, we must talk about religion also. This is also very powerful thing, is plays a vital role in social institution that shapes gender identity in the society. So there are scared and spaces where only men are allowed to enter and not to women. There are some norms also defined which only men can perform certain duties or obligations pertaining to religious activities, and also reinforce and legitimate gender roles, passing to men and women in the society. So we are all in teaching community, the teachers, researchers or educators. We are all more responsible person to serve as a reference group in the socialization process. The media and other agents like community agencies and other daycare centers, athletic teams also responsible to bring socialization process. Um, Here, social institution and gender index is an important component in social institution. It is nothing but designed to measure gender equality in a society. You can refer in the website SIGA, Gender Social Institution and Gender Index. You can see the report also. It was introduced by OECD Development Center. And this was talking about, they were measured about gender equality by consider a lot of important concept like discriminatory social institutions, and were restricting their access to justice. What about their rights and empowerment opportunities? These are the important concept underlined and calculated, and they are underlying some of the drives about gender inequalities, discriminatory social institutions, such as education, employment, health, etc., and other social transformations considered to bring or calculate gender equality. And this will prove more information about gender identity, gender role, and everything. And what I feel, and everyone should accept the importance or socialization process should be given to all the groups, particularly child or adult or girls, women, whoever may be, that education is an important weapon. This is an important concept where a person learns about the role, status, and value that should be in the society. So we should understand about the education, the level of education. Education means everybody is getting education, school level or higher education. Not like that. Gender sensitive education must be there. The teacher also must be sensitized. So taking class, completing the syllabus or completing the examination, finish it up everything. That is the role of the teacher. That is not the kind of teaching. Teaching means some kind of life skills should be involved. That is what in the 2 days before Padma Madam was insisting about the life skills. So without life skills while talking or taking classes or handling the students, it is not at all the students' point of view. They will not be benefited, and it is our duty to teach everything. Anyone can teach, anybody can teach about what is what. But these life skills, sensitivity, that awareness, everything the students or kids are learning from ourselves. So this is our duty to teach everything to bring gender neutral society again, I'm saying. And due to time constraint, just I move to there is some gender discrimination and inequality also in our Indian society. We must agree that because always the cultural construct of Indian society reinforces gender bias against men and women, varying degrees and a different context again against the opposite sex has led to the continuation of India's strong preferences for male children. So still we can say, and I can say some of the points for gender discrimination in Indian society with regard to education, particularly childhood to adulthood, and its education. Yeah, of course, they are getting good education in the school level and higher education. But while talk about a job or administrative position, the percentage of female rate is automatically decreases. Where this gender gap? Why this is happening? Likewise, gender gap in wages, salaries, and there is no equal pay for equal work. This also happens. The term started and we waited for that from 2016 onwards, but still it is going on, whether it is formal sector or informal sector. But most of the migrant workers or informal sectors are having, the people are fighting for equal pay for equal work, even though they are fully qualified. And some of the occupational segregation also proves that gender discrimination here, providing salary, allocation of job and everything. And the honor killing also. So we are the right people, we should fight for that. That honor killing or violence against women committed with a motive of protecting or regaining the honor of the perpetrator, family or community. Knowingly or not knowingly, it is happening all around the world, particularly in Indian society. And women are is molested in the country every 26 minutes. We feel very bad about this. And India also had highest rate of violence during pregnancy. It is 50% were kicked, beaten, or hit and pregnant. But during COVID period, also women are facing lot of issues, particularly domestic violence, sexual violence, etc., etc. And of course, we have a lot of some favoring laws also to women and girls, particularly sexual harassment at workplace, plantation of labor, maternity benefit act, medical termination, equal remuneration act, practice act, etc., etc. But ultimately, how many of us are sensitized and how many cases reported, how many cases are justified in gender perspective, that is also be questioned here. So these are the challenges before us in socialization process. So as a family, what is our role as a teacher? What is our role as a researcher? What is our role to bring socialization changes here? That we must consider and take it into the different aspect. And some of the social movements, so many national and international organizations are ready and they are working for gender equality, and they are committed so many changes in their gender rules. Some of the social movements also I can spell out here: gender reform feminism, gender resistant feminism, that movements are designed to emphasize how gender overlaps with other bases of oppression like age, race, class, and other things. And of course, we must agree that there is some development theories also. That these theories will talk about the forthcoming sessions like WID, BAD, GAD, women in development, women and development, gender and development. Some of the approaches also related to gender helps to promote gender equality. And of course, you know very well about sustainable development goals. 4 and 5 talk about the quality education and gender equality and women empowerment to attain 2030. Some of the specific forums, NGOs, and other women welfare associations also work for gender equality. Particularly, we can spell out in 1995 Beijing Declaration Platform Action. The Fourth World Conference was talking about poverty, education, training, health, violence against women, armed conflict, economy, power and decision making, rights, media, environment, and save the world state and all. But still, we are talking about all those things. What is the impact on this? We have to think, remain. And I'll complete within 2 minutes. How to promote gender justice in our life? We should keep it in our mind, or we have to think, share household chores and the child care equally, watch for signs and domestic violence, support mothers and parents. First, we should be ready to reject chauvinist and racist attitudes. So this is happens everywhere, whether they are working or not working. But this is happening, and talk to your colleagues or friends and family frankly and tell them to stop with the chauvinist and racist insult. Help women gain power and find out who the female candidate or especially women from underrepresented communities. In addition to that, first we have to listen and reflect, because this is one of the most main obstacles to eliminating prejudice, that people have difficulty to recognizing that it is a really exist. Research has already proven that we all reproduced a stereotype and pre-existing notions on many topics. So try to pay attention to your assumptions and know that none of us is immune to making vacated comments or holding biased attitudes. When someone points out something problematic in your speech, listen and reflect on it. Uh, this is happening in our day-to-day life. Unless otherwise, we can't promote or bring gender equality. And of course, some of the gender justice we have to bring in our workplace. Pay the same salary for equal work. That is for equal pay for equal work. And sexual harassment, it should be zero tolerance on that part. There is no time to talk about gender socialization within 1 hour, and we are all very specialized people. Most of the people from gender studies background, and you know very well about global issues, what is happening in and around the society. But it is our duty to recall each and everything what is happening. So before concluding, I would like to mention 4 important E's to bring gender neutral society. The first one is education is an important weapon to change the society. First I'm saying this education, not only the female, the society must be educated to give equal right for female. And the second thing is the economic independence. This economic independence only free the women from slavery position and boost the self-confidence. Economic independence for women also helps in the national economic development. The third is shows that there are a number of laws, educations, and employment will make the society to accept the women as an equal gender like male. The female also has all the potential, and empowering women will help us use her full capacity and mitigate the economic dependency of women. Lot of programs and schemes are available from the lower level to top level, the people are availing. But here we have lot of research opportunities to empower women community in different levels. And finally, enhance the morale and self-confidence is an important task to bring gender neutral society of the women is the key to eliminate the inferior complex of her. And we must be create a positive attitude. Don't say no. So fight for that to break all inequality barriers. Then we can win the race. So this is what I want to spell out in these 4 years. So I request all the participants, these 30 days gender sensitization programs, this is not only for the learning process, we should observe, raise questions, critically thinking in gender perception, and we should be, yes, a gender sensitive person, and try to adopt the same knowledge, gender sensitivity in our day-to-day life. Unless otherwise, we can't bring gender equality. So, with this note, I thank each and every participant, organizer, particularly Professor Manimali and Dr. Shubha, Neela. Thank you.
Madam, I got a question. Madam, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned about anticipatory socialization. Please explain about it. Number one.
Yes, sir.
Number two, you are referring to
Okay.
socialization, desocialization, and resocialization. Is
Yeah.
the socialization and the resocialization is same with regard to the attitudes, beliefs, and norms, or it's quite different? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Ma'am?
Is my question clear,
Am I
madam?
audible?
Yeah, yes, madam. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
yes, madam. Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, anticipatory socialization means this is when we start the learning new norms and values in expectation of the role we will occupy on the future. That is making necessary adjustments in advance. The cultural transition into new role earlier. That is the adopting some of the norms and values of a future role. We can evaluate whether that role will be right for us or not, or whether this suits for us or not. So based on the assumption only the person can choose, or they can select or evaluate whether this role is correct for us or not. So that is what I am saying, that each and every stage they need some kind of support. Socialization process means 100% result will come in a positive manner. That is not at all possible because our mindset, their role, and we are playing in different mindset, and we are working in different field. But of course, and they should adopting some kind of norms and values of future role. Uh, in this situation, they can evaluate whether that role is right for us or wrong. And of course, about the adolescent socialization, what is your second question?
Socialization.
Re-socialization, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Re-socialization means because most of the incidents, re-socialization means like mild modifications, such as adopting into the new work environment. So totally you won't be changing your values or norms. There is some slight changes. So 10 or 15 years back, our norms and values was different than
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
2020. So there is slight modification or mild modifications are there that may be adopting to a new work environment. Depends upon the people, depends upon the group, depends upon the society.
Okay.
So
Madam,
definitely it shows a different thing. Yeah.
madam, you are mentioning about the role of education
Yes,
and
sir.
also institutional factors
Yes, sir.
and also social norms.
Yeah.
Is it the type of government which also influences and insists upon the more gender sensitization or socialization like China? Because the matriarchal family which we see in Kerala, and also the matriarchal family which we see in China, they are quite different. So what's your opinion
Yeah.
about this, madam?
Yeah, I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. Uh, there is some lacunae to frame a curriculum structure or educational system, not only in India, particularly in Tamil Nadu, and we people are having right hands and the power to change. So that in higher education or school education, the people who are involved to work or to think about the future about the students. That is what I was telling about the life skills. Even in the CBSE syllabus, 2 years back, the government insisted sex education. Sex education means gender-based education. But people were thinking about gender and sex as a different term that does not suits our society, and this is a wrong word we are pronouncing here. So we have to break their mindset first. So that is what I am saying, that the family, schools or colleges, that education systems and the teachers and the we people are responsible to bring the society. And of course, we feel very bad compare the neighboring state, Kerala, that a matriarchal society, they have all the powers and decision making role. The women are plays a central role, but here it is lacunae. But here we are working for that, and we are raising question often here, and it is our duty raise consciousness, sensitivity, awareness. Unless otherwise, and we are not in the right position to take the decision. But till that, we have to raise our voice, or giving awareness, or sensitizing the students, or sensitizing the teachers, because we people are giving gender sensitization, capacity building to the teachers. Not only the teachers, even for the common public also. The entrepreneurs are getting ideas, government employees, bank employees, railway employees, all the groups are getting informations, or they are sensitized more. Comparing 20 years or 25 years back, we can see vast difference. I think this will take more time to change, but we expect some positive way to change our society.
Thank you, madam. I am from economics and
Thank you, sir.
management. Just okay. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Participants, any other questions? Ma'am, there are
Yeah,
some
one more
questions in the
question.
chat box, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You please read.
Regarding honor killing,
Yeah.
there is no particular law against curbing honor killing in India, and Indian judiciary is very practical to serve gender justice in even filing cases in case of family law. Please share your recommendations on these issues, ma'am. Shruti. The
Yeah,
question
this
asked
is
by
of course.
Shruti.
Yeah, honor killing is an important, sensitive topic and a sensitive issue also. But this is again, we should not worry about the justice or laws and other thing. And we people must be ready. How many parents and how many families, how many members are sensitized, whether this is the patriarchal issues and breaking social norms and gender injustice. And we should be ready. And even women studies people or gender sensitized people, something happens like this kind of issues or any problem in the society, even we should be ready to give or take challenge to file a case against this, even in the station or in the justice point of view, like in the law point of view, they have some kind of internal or external pressures, directly or indirectly it is there. But we should raise our voice. First of all, how many of us to know what are the laws for the women. There are a lot of favoring laws for women and children as there, particularly girl children. But how many of us using that laws, and how many of us aware of that? Of course, I agree that so many police stations, so many courts, and so many people are not at all listening the cases, and so many cases are not at all reported. But it is our duty. You fight for that. You be strong in your command. That actually what is happened. This is the law says, this is the rule says, be strong with your point. Unless otherwise, it can help them. Unless we have to fight for that. And the media is a very important, very a particular weapon. You can write and you can say about the incident, because yesterday incident, a Kovilpatti incident, 7-year-old girl was murdered, and the girl was gang raped. So this was broadcasted in the channels, in different channels and everything. After 2 days, think about the situation. Ultimately, that the parent will go for the station, and they will be getting some kind of informal or indirect what is that suggestions, or it is not possible to go for the court to file a case, whether they will be getting justice or not. These are not the question. And she is from a lower level family, and she is getting basic wages, and she is a migrant worker. So without father, that mother is having only one girl child and one boy child. This incident was happened in Tamil Nadu. So still it is happening. So it is our role that I am giving recommendation to the government or law department or whatever it is, unless otherwise we are not having a sensitivity or awareness, we can't stop this. Otherwise, the punishment should be strong. That is also will take more time. So again, there is some external influences will come, some other forces will be arrived. So many things are happening. So without the awareness or sensitization, we can't go or we can't expect any a positive result. At least it is our duty to promote sensitization or consciousness raising among the people. We should not allow girl child outside unless otherwise without knowledge of parent. If she goes out, we should be very careful whether where she is, whether she called us, she informed us, something like that. So it is our duty. Again, I'm saying that we can't oppose or we can't say that the laws is not good. There is no laws for this. There are laws are there, more laws, favoring laws particularly for women and children. That the implementation part is very very low, and the judgment favoring judgment also will take more time.
Another question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Shall I read, ma'am?
Yeah, Dr. Neela.
What is the role of mother towards bringing up daughter and son equally?
That is what I was spell out in the presentation. In our day-to-day life, to treat the people, both boy and girl, equally, washing clothes or cleaning vessels. If you take food, after taking your food, take your plate and keep it in the wash basin, you clean the vessels. Because here the discrimination starts, and dividing the food and allocating the work in the family. Suppose the boy is allowing to go for the shop to buy something, but nowadays it is improving. These are the small practice gives or brings the gender inequality. And the other thing is the option for the education, engineering or computer related or whatever related things that happens in the family, they must allow. And they should be very careful while using the language. You are a girl, you are a girl child. After 10 years or 15 years, you will have some kind of responsibility. You have to do this. These gendered languages are using by the family. This is also segregating, bringing inequality among the children in the family. So giving food, getting the work, talking with them while using the language, everything will come under gender inequality. So this is only promotes, gives information about gender equality. Or unknowingly internalize those things. Automatically, that girl child will ask, no, this is not applicable to me. This will play or this will do by my brother. How can you say this? So, knowingly or unknowingly, the child internalizes in their mind. So, it is our duty to practice in our day-to-day life. while using the language, and people are giving the work, even giving food while wearing the dress and everything. That is what I'm saying, that the family, particularly parents, must be sensitized while handling the kids.
Another question, ma'am. Should our laws and legislations regarding women rights change for a gender sensitive society? And please throw some light on women reservation in various areas.
Yeah, women reservation already we got 33 percentage. Now we are in the parliament 14 percentage level. So unless otherwise that administrative role women are playing still less than 33 percentage, that I agree that. But in local panchayat election, the women are representing more than 50%. These representation definitely will change the society. Of course, at least the people know about what is the ground reality, where it happens, what is the reason for this, how to eradicate all the issues, all those things the people will be knowing definitely. But here again, the women not only in the political administration, even decision making in higher education, industries, and one more question relating to law will not change. At least some of the laws brought gender justice judgment, and it is of because of the favoring laws only number of problems, particularly issues relating to women and girls are decreased, I can say. At least 10 to 15% we can say, because this and those are not reported and it has not comes out. So the reason is that again they are talking about, they are thinking about their family, family ego, prestige. They have some kind of image, all those things. So law is ready. There are number of laws definitely will help the people to bring gender equality. Definitely it will give um, gender neutral society through these laws. This helps in different mood. But at the same time, we must cooperate and we must involve ourselves. We have to fight for that. Definitely, it is not an easy thing to get gender justice. We have to fight for that and we have to work for that. Get the help from different people, those who are all working for women empowerment. So many women associations are there, educational institution, the people are working for women community. So these are the institutions are very much helpful to the people happening in society, particularly the problem against women and children.
One last question, ma'am. What role
Yeah.
does state play in a socialization process?
Yeah, that is what the government role means. Again, I'm saying that government can insist the people or insist the society, like working people in different category or a different scenario. They can give some idea, they can bring some rules or policies. But again, it is our duty. Don't wait for the state policy, state intervention or state play. This is our duty. If a state brings some policies or norms, means it will be artificial. So you must internalize what is equality about yourself, in your family, among the society. We have to bring the changes. So if you are waiting for the changes from the state level or from the state government or the other like government, state or central government, it is not a gender equal state or gender neutral society. The changes must bring within ourselves, and we have to raise awareness, consciousness. Even the government says capacity building, sensitivity training, even UGC says conduct the program, attend the program, sending the report. But ultimately, what will be the impact and what is the benefit of this? We must sensitize, we must learn, and we must internalize the values, actually existing values, what said, what we are doing now, whether this will give more positive impact or negative impact to the people, and whether this provide gender equality or gender neutral society. This is what I can quote and say. So simply we can't say the state can do more things in the curriculum structure, framing of education system, and the teacher must be sensitized and treating the people. And of course, we have lot of systems has been changed, but still we have to bring some changes. These are the things informally the state will bring. It will take another 10 to 15 years. Definitely, the society will change. But before that, it is our duty to bring the changes. Sensitization and all, not only through the programs we can't change. It must be emerged, internalized in our day-to-day life. Unless otherwise can't bring the changes in your day-to-day life, in your life, then we can't expect the society to change. Definitely that the state should bring the changes through education system, some norms, policies. Any other question?
No questions, ma'am. That's it, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your crystal clear presentation. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks. Any education given by a group tends to socialize its members, but the quality and the value of socialization depends upon the habits and aims of the group. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable session. You have explained everything very, very clearly about the starting from the gender socialization and its type and end up with gender equality. Beautifully explained. Thank you very much, ma'am. It is the need of the hour. I wish to express my sincere thanks to all the participants for their active participation. Thank you all. Meet you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Neela.
Thank you, ma'am.